Good morning, students. Today we are starting a textbook of English subject in your class, and this book is Honeycomb, prescribed by NCERT, and it has almost 10 chapters. And this is the first chapter I am going to teach you today. This chapter's name is Three Questions. So this three questions deals with the king. So here I can say that this story is about a king. He has three questions and he is seeking try to get the answers of these three questions. Now we are going to read what are these questions, or does the king get the answers of those questions he wants. So we should start that the first question, chapter, three questions. So the title is almost clear to us. He thought. The chapter starts from here. He thought, the thought came to a certain king. One king was there. It is not mentioned who the king was. That he would never fail if he knew three things. The king thought that if he knew three things in his life, he would never fail in his life. So, these three things were, what were these three things? First was, what is the right time to begin something? The king thought that we should know the right time to begin anything in our life. So first thing, what is the right time to begin something? Second, which people should he listen to? Means to whom he should ask anything, or to whom he should discuss his problems, or he should try to get the answers of those problems. So the second thing is, which people should he listen to? Third, what is the most important thing for him to do? The third thing was that if he is able to know what is the most important thing for him to do any time in his life. So if he knew all the three things, he would never fail in his life. So to get the answers of these three questions, the king therefore sent messengers. The king sent messengers throughout his kingdom, empire. In his whole kingdom, he sent persons to get the intelligent persons who can answer these questions, promising a large sum of money to anyone who would answer these three questions. At the same time, he told his messengers that if anybody is able to answer these questions, he would give him a huge amount of money as a reward. Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. Many, according to the message sent in the empire, many intelligent persons thought that they can satisfy the king. So they came there, but they answers differently. They gave answers differently. In reply to the first question, as we have studied on the top, some said king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly hard, in a tough manner without making any mistake. So some persons said that the king must prepare a timetable, a schedule, and according to that he should work and he would be successful. On this way, they said, could he do everything at its proper time? After making the timetable, the king will be able to complete his task on time. Others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. Some said that it is not so easy that in advance or before time we can decide anything to do. Right time. The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pleasures and always do whatever seemed necessary to that time. Now the third question was there, and according to those wise persons who came there, they gave answers that the king should avoid foolish pleasures. He should not be befooled by anybody, and he should decide everything, and what is necessary at that time he should do that. Yet others said that the king needed a council of wise men who would help him act at the proper time. Other persons who came there, they suggested that the king should organize a council of intelligent persons around him, and they would help him in doing the things or acts on the proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly. This was said that only one person can't decide everything. So a council of ministers is required. correctly without help from others, the right time for every action. So these counselors or the ministers of a council or the members of the council will help the king in doing the things at the right time. But then others said that there were some things which would be urgent. Then the king said that, those persons said that it's not so easy. If you have decided the things to be done on the particular time, but later on some urgency comes and you are not able to do the things properly. So that was not right. These things could not wait for the decision of the council. Some things or many things happen in our life which can't be waited for longer time or for the decisions to be done. In order to decide the right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future. And at the same time, it is necessary that you should be so wise or so intelligent that you can look into the future to do the things on the right time. And only magicians could do that. Ordinary persons are not able to do things thinking beyond the times. Only magicians could perform such things. The king therefore would have to go to the magicians. Those persons said that you should go to the magicians and they can solve your problem. In their answers to the second question, so this was the first answers. Second, in their answers to the second question, some said that people most necessary to the king were his counselor. Now the second question, whom should the king go to seek advice? So in answer to this question, the people who came there told that counselors means advisors. The king should have advisors around him and they can answer the questions. Others said the priests. Some said that the priests, the worshippers or the in the temples or churches should be around him and they can give him good advices. A few others chose the doctor. Some said that doctors should be around him, and yet others said that his soldiers were the most necessary. So different answers were there. Not one single answer was to be decided. To the third question, some said science, others chose fighting, and yet others religious worship. So here again, some said that science is more suitable for him to be done at the right time. That is the most important task for him to be done. And others chose that fighting is necessary as the enemies attack on him, and yet others religious worship. So again the king was confused. He was not deciding what to be done. Now, as the answers to his questions were so different, the king was not satisfied and gave no reward. The king was not satisfied with these answers, so he gave no reward. Instead, he decided to seek the advice of a certain hermit who was widely known for his wisdom. Ultimately, the king thought that a hermit, a saint, was living, a simple person was living in a wood or jungle, and he should go to him and he would be able to answer his questions. The hermit lived in a wood. Wood means jungle, which he never left. He always lived there. He saw no one but simple people. So the king put on ordinary clothes. The hermit used to see only ordinary people. He was not seeking or he was not interested in rich people or kings-like people. So the king wore simply clothes or ordinary clothes of ordinary persons. Before he reached the hermit's hut, before reaching there, the king left his horse with his bodyguard and went on alone to see the hermit. As the king came near the hermit's hut, he saw the hermit digging the ground in front of his hut. The king reached there and he saw that the hermit was digging ground in front of his hut. He greeted the king and continued digging. After greeting the king, he continued his digging. The hermit was old and weak and he breathed heavily. As the hermit was working, he was breathing very heavily, very fast. The king went up to the hermit and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer 3 questions. Then the king put his problem before him, that he has reached there, he has went there to answer his 3 questions. He wanted to get the answers from the hermit. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? First question. Who are the people I need most? Second question. And what affairs are the most important? This is the third question of the king. The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. He went on. He continued his digging. You are tired, said the king. King told the hermit that you are tired and let me work. Let me take the spade. Spade means the instrument I have told in the hard words, and work in your place. Thanks, said the hermit, giving the king his spade. Then he sat down on the ground. Now the king was digging the ground and the hermit was sitting nearby. When the king had dug two beds, the small particular portion used to dig, or here the meaning is written, small patches of ground for plants, for growing plants. So, when the king had dug two beds, that has gone. This is the first part of this chapter. This chapter has two parts, so we are dealing with the first. He stopped and repeated his questions. The hermit gave no answer. The king again repeated the questions, but the hermit didn't give any answer, but stood up stretching out his hands for the spade. Now the hermit was asking him to return his spade and said, now you rest and let me work. But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the tree. Now it was time of evening, and at last the king struck the spade into the ground. He forcefully struck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you wise men for an answer to my questions. If you can give me no answer, tell me so, and I will return home. Now the king was frustrated. He told the hermit that he had come here to get the answers, and if the hermit is not able to answer his questions, he should tell him clearly so that he may return back to his home. Here comes something running. And on this argument, the hermit replied, here comes someone running, said the hermit. Hermit told him that someone is coming running towards them. Just wait for that. So this is the first part of this chapter, and I think you are able to understand the chapter. Some questions are given here. You try to write the answers of these questions. One is objective MCQ and the other is descriptive. So try to answer the questions, and if you find any problem, WhatsApp me. Thank you very much.